Why were you on Tinder? And what were you looking for?
I just moved to the Bay Area and I didn't know many people, so I was just looking for people to hang out and have dinner together. So it has to be someone very close to me, and I prefer to be a native English speaker because I want to practice English.
Well, to bang mostly. I signed up for Tinder.
What was your first impression of her profile?
So her profile stood out to me because she only had one single sentence in her bio, which was grab a drink. And that's exactly the attitude of the girl that I was looking for. So we started matching and hit it off kind of immediately in March of 2020. Of course, that's exactly when the lockdown started, and so we didn't actually get to meet in March. I talked to her and complained about how some of my plans at Atelier Kren got canceled, and after that point, she ignored me for 3 months.
I mean, that reservation is now with me, then why should I care?
One day, randomly in June, I reached out to her and I asked her if she wanted to grab that drink.
I was desperate for a drink, so he asked me out. I said, okay, how about have a drink like 2 hours later?
And she said yes and wanted to meet in that same afternoon. So we met at this bar in Mountain View called St. Stephen's Green, and that's where we had our first date.
Tell me more about your first date. What did you think about it?
Apparently he matched everything I was looking for on Tinder. He lived within 1 mile. He is a native English speaker, and he knows a lot of restaurants around the Bay. And then we started to talk about travel. He said that he is very well traveled, and I was like, okay, another guy in the Bay Area like bragging about themselves.
When did you realize that there's something more?
It must have been the time that we went to Chicago. That was the first time we traveled somewhere really far together and where we spent a lot of time, more than a weekend together. So on the day that we had all these plans, we ended up waking up around 1 or 2 p.m. And we still managed to make the most out of the day, but that was when I knew that she was the one because she also really likes to sleep in and is very easygoing and kind of just, goes with whatever happens.
What's the best thing that George has done for you?
George is always very supportive, and one thing stands out is when my grandma got very sick and I was in LA. I was very close to my grandma. And when George heard of that, he dropped everything and then booked the next available flight and flew to LA to take care of me. Unfortunately, a month later, my grandma passed away. I was pretty miserable, and he was really kind. He offered his place to let me join the funeral remotely. And he cleaned up the house and even did some research online to see that what kind of flowers people would use in Taiwan at funerals. Yeah, he cleaned up the house. He's usually pretty messy, but he did that for me. And I think that has been the best thing he has done to me so far.
What's the best moment you guys shared together?
Must have been the time that we got married in Vegas. So we flew in on a random weekday night, and we had dinner at this fancy restaurant called Michaelina. The dinner ended at around 11 or so, and right after that we went to the government office to get our marriage certificate. Now this is the latest closing government office I've ever seen because they close at midnight. So we go in there, we show them our IDs, and we basically get the certificate after about 5 minutes. There was no line, and yeah, this was in Las Vegas. And then the next day we go to a little chapel and we bought one of their wedding packages where you can get married for just $100 by an Elvis. So we did that. After that, we decided to just go out, grab a drink at the nearest bar that we could walk to. And then after that, we went on a roller coaster because neither of us had been on that roller coaster at New York before, and it was quite fun.
If you guys can have one wish for each other, what would it be?
To celebrate our wedding in front of all of our friends and family.
How do you know that she's the one?
Hello?